10 Nintendo games I believe every gamer should play before they die. These are some of the greatest games ever made in my opinion, and these 10 games are all made and published by Nintendo. I'm going to talk about these games because I want to talk about the 10 games that I believe are some of the greatest Nintendo games ever made, and if you haven't played any of these games, I highly recommend you get on them now because they are just that good. They are some of my favourite games of all time, some of the greatest games of all time. You know, some of them are timeless, and I believe that they belong in a kind of like history for Nintendo, the Hall of Fame of greatest games of all time. So let's get into it. Number 1. This is kind of a double pack really, I suppose. These games are The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. These kind of come hand in hand as they are a 2-pack. Majora's Mask is the sequel to Ocarina of Time, but in my opinion, and this is my number 1 pick on this video, Ocarina of Time is hands down the greatest game ever made. No joke about it. Literally, it's the greatest game ever made. So many hours playing this game. My whole childhood revolved around practically this game. It was just amazing. I loved it. I remember picking up this game for the first time ever, and just the feeling of the semi-open world that was available to explore, made to play as the character Link and going out there and fighting evil and taking down Ganondorf and exploring all the dungeons and stuff like that. The puzzles, the quests, the characters, everything about the game was magnificent and wonderful. I just loved Ocarina of Time so much. And then that also moves on to Majora's Mask, which is my favourite game of all time. Just Majora's Mask is amazing. It takes a slightly different approach to Ocarina of Time, as this revolves around time. It's kind of like a game that is the closest thing we've ever had to like a Groundhog Day game. I love it for that. The characters, the world, the quest, the story, everything about Majora's Mask is amazing. It literally takes everything that Ocarina of Time did amazing and ramps it up by 11 in my opinion. These 2 games kind of fall into a similar category with a similar game that I'm going to talk about down later in the video. But yeah, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, if you was my age when I was growing up playing this game, this game really made an impact on me. It's my favourite game of all time. It's one of those games that really makes you cheer when you complete it because there's just so much to it. The exploration, style, the atmosphere, it's amazing. Majora's Mask is just that good. The Animal Crossing series. Okay, this is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This isn't my favourite in the series, but I do think it is probably the best game in the series. However, what I will say is that Animal Crossing is one of those game series that you can basically play any of them and get practically the same experience. This one is the most recent game. It's on the Nintendo Switch, but I would highly recommend Animal Crossing Wild World or New Leaf. I would highly recommend playing those 2. Like I say, Animal Crossing is just one of those games where you get free range to do whatever you like. You get to basically build your own little village, talk to villagers, create this kind of like world that you want to live in. It's just a dream of a game really. There's just so much character to Animal Crossing as well. The idea is that you live on this island that you create and make your home, whereas you have people who live on your island who are animals. This is where Animal Crossing comes from. It's kind of like the characters are hybrids between humans and animals. This is the Animal Crossing. It's an interesting game because it's like a collectathon, but it's the greatest collectathon ever made. It's a life simulator game, so you get to basically live out your life sim style. So it's interesting in that form that it's actually very cozy as well. Like if you want a game that you can play just in an evening when you've got nothing else to do and you're a little bit bored, or you just want to go to bed and you just want to relax in bed, Animal Crossing is great. You do have to play this game practically every single day. Once you start a file, you will be absorbed into it because you basically get to live your life day by day. It's not really a game that you can just play for hours. You have to kind of space it out and do the chores that you want to do and the jobs and the missions that you want to do in that one day. You know, that is kind of what it is. I say chores, I don't mean chores that they're boring. They're just chores like, for example, planting flowers or digging up trees and stuff like that. That's kind of what it is. It's a rewarding game when you complete it. When you make a lot of money and you end up buying your final house, you know, you've completed life, and that's basically reflected in Animal Crossing. So yeah, I definitely think buy any of the Animal Crossing games. They're all practically the same experience, really. People will probably hate me for saying that right now, but I do generally think that you can play any Animal Crossing game. This is New Horizons, the most recent one. I would recommend getting this if you want the most recent one, but also check out Wild World or New Leaf. They are just as good. The next game I want to show you is Metroid Prime Remastered. Metroid Prime, I actually recommend the Metroid Prime series 1, 2 and 3, including Metroid Prime Hunters, which was a DS game. Not so much the Federation Force game, that wasn't great. It's there if you want to play it, I guess. But Metroid Prime Remastered on Nintendo Switch. This is originally a GameCube game, so I am kind of counting this as a GameCube game, as it was originally a GameCube game. But I have the Switch version, which is the best version of the game. This, in my opinion, is one of the greatest games ever made. It's a first-person shooter action-adventure game. It's in the Metroidvania category of games. What a Metroidvania is, it's like a dungeon crawler in a way. It's basically this world where it's... Basically think of the dungeons from Legend of Zelda, but imagine them as one big dungeon that lasts the whole game. That's the best way to kind of explain it. Puzzles everywhere, you have to explore, find new weapons, new items, go back to certain areas with your new items, unlock new areas, explore until you find the direction you need to go. This game kind of just drops you in the middle of nowhere and expects you to find the right route. I really do love Metroid Prime Remastered. It's so good. There isn't much story to this game, but it doesn't really need one. But it kind of follows that linear story of you're fully upgraded at the start of the game, everything goes wrong, you lose all your items, you lose all your abilities, you then go through the whole game, regain your abilities, and regain all your items. And then you fight the final boss, who was the original reason why you lost all your items. That's kind of the story of Metroid Prime. There's so much to it, though, that the story is kind of told in the world building in this. It's probably one of the best games ever made for world building, as there's just so much to explore and look at and scan and read. It's just so good. I love it. This game plays so well as well. Like it's one of the best first-person shooters ever made, easily, in my opinion. Metroid Prime Remastered. Samus Aran, great character. Meta Ridley is an awesome villain. The next game on my list is Pokemon Gen 1. I have Pokemon Yellow version and Red version here. I did used to have Blue version. I don't know where it's gone. But Pokemon Red version and Yellow version. Yeah, awesome. These are my favourite Pokemon games. Purely because when I was younger in the 90s, Pokemon was a massive thing. It was Pokemon mania back then in the 90s. When I was a child, everybody was playing Pokemon. It was the biggest fad ever, in my opinion. Out of any fad there's ever been, my whole life, my whole 30 years of life, Pokemon has always been the biggest fad out of every single one of them. It's left such an impact on today, and one of the reasons why I became a gamer in the first place, I think, is because of Pokemon. And yeah, Pokemon is just amazing. I love Pokemon. I love these versions. They are very outdated, I'll be honest with you. But if you want to delve into the history of gaming, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, absolute must-plays, because they are games that really did start the foundations for one of the greatest media franchises of all time. Yeah, I mean, if you just want to see where everything started, you probably have already played these games already, but if you just want to see how Pokemon was back in the day, in the 90s, compared to what it is now, which is a very different style of game, you know, these are incredible. Definitely do pick up. These are absolute time warps in a cartridge, and I think these are amazing. They are very basic, like they play how you imagine a basic Pokemon game to play. You explore the world, you do Pokemon battles, you take on the 8 gym leaders, you do the Elite Four at the end of the game, and then you fight the final boss. That is literally Pokemon. That's the story. You've got to catch them all, as they say. That is basically the first Gen 1 Pokemon series. There was the storyline with Mewtwo in the first gen as well, so there is story in the game. There's the Mewtwo storyline and Giovanni and stuff like that, and Silphco, and also Team Rocket as well. All that story's there, so if you do want a story in a Pokemon game, you've got it in these games, so don't think that they're that basic that they don't have any story. But yeah, these are where Pokemon started, and in my opinion, still the best in the series. Fire Emblem Three Houses. So this is a bit of an obscure one, really, because I feel like not many people outside of Nintendo fans really know what Fire Emblem is, and I'll be honest with you, it's not an easy series to get into. I feel like Fire Emblem has such a wide range of games now that it's hard to start somewhere. But I will say, if you are going to try, Fire Emblem Three Houses If you're a gamer and you've never played this, I really highly recommend you do. This is easily one of the greatest games on Nintendo Switch. In fact, it might even be one of the greatest games Nintendo's ever made. It's that good. I've only played a few Fire Emblem games, and this one is easily my favourite out of them all, from what I've played. And I really do recommend you get on this, because this game is just... there's something about it that's just so captivating, and the story and characters are just so well written. Basically, this is another life simulator game, but it's also a strategy game. It's almost like Hogwarts Legacy before Hogwarts Legacy. It's not quite a 3D exploration game, but you do get to roam around this huge giant monastery castle, and you're a teacher in this castle. You basically teach students how to become warriors. Also, you do have the amazing story. You get to choose one of the 3 houses. Yes, they are not Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. I won't go into too much of the story because I feel like it's worthwhile just going into this game blind and finding out the story as you play it, because there's just so many twists and turns throughout the whole 40 hours of story. And overall, if you were to do multiple routes in this game, you're going to get way over 100 hours in this game. So it's just worthwhile for that pick, because you get so many hours out of this. And those 100 hours will be well spent. I really want to play through it again, just because I've only played the entire thing once, and I just really do want to... I kind of want to play it again just to do a different story side of it. Choose a different house, choose different characters, choose different options that I chose in the first playthrough. Usually when I finish a game, I put it down and never want to play it again, but this time I really do actually want to play this again, so I might do one day. Fire Emblem Three Houses, easily one of the greatest Nintendo games ever made. You know, it has got that anime style to it, so if you're not into anime, you know, please at least try and give it a go, I guess. Try it. But if you love anime, it's right up your street. Fire Emblem, it's a series that I feel might become more popular over time. It's only recently become more known in the western side of the world. Over in the eastern side of the world, this game series is way more popular. I feel like Fire Emblem is a series that Nintendo are really focused on at the moment. They seem to release a Fire Emblem game every couple of years, so yeah. Fire Emblem Three Houses, definitely worth picking up and playing. And the next game I'm going to talk about is actually, again, another double pack. I'm classing these ones as double packs because they do come hand in hand, almost like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And believe it or not, it's the same series. This is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. So, yeah, if you're going to play this game, just play both together. It's one whole giant story. It's easily 200 hours of game here that you can play. They are the best games on Nintendo Switch. If you've not played them yet, what are you doing? Go get your Switch or go buy a Switch purely for these games. Some of the greatest games ever made, in my opinion. Nintendo really did go all out for these games. They pushed the Nintendo Switch to the limit. Incredible, incredible games. If you have a Nintendo Switch OLED as well, like, they are definitely worth just seeing on that console, because they look amazing. Amazing art style. These are open world games. So what makes these different to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and one of the reasons why I believe I can put these on the list, is because these are open world Zelda games, whereas Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are traditional Zeldas. They are more linear than these games. These games are entirely open world. Whatever direction you want to go in the world, you can go that way. If you see something in your eye that's on top of a mountain or in the distance, you can go to that. You don't have to go there because of a story reason. You can just go there. Whereas in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, you have to kind of do the story to go to certain places at certain times. These are open world. You can literally go anywhere at any time, whenever you like, as long as you do the tutorial area first, which takes about an hour every time. Must play Zelda games, in my opinion, absolutely. Must play Nintendo games. If you've not played these yet and you consider yourself a gamer, what are you doing? These are games that should be played before you die. Seriously, go play them now. Don't forget about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Seriously, I know that everyone was playing these games last year, but I mean, they are still here to be played, and if you haven't, I'm just going to keep saying it over and over and over again. Go play them now. Amazing games. Like, you can manipulate the mechanics in these games. In Tears of the Kingdom, you can literally build whatever you want as long as you have the items in your inventory. You get to build vehicles, weapons, houses if you really wanted to. You could build whatever you want as long as you have the means to do it. Breath of the Wild has one of the coolest atmospheres in a game I've ever seen. It's a post-apocalyptic game. Go out there, see what's going on in the world, see how messed up the events of the Calamity are, and, you know, it's just... these games, easily the best games on Nintendo Switch. The next game I'm going to talk about is Super Mario Galaxy. Now, this is Super Mario Galaxy 2. Also recommend Super Mario Galaxy 1. I do actually have it, actually. Let me just get it. No, do you know what? I'm going to change my answer here. I'm going to say 3D Mario in general. Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. 3D Mario in general, if you've never played any of these games, including Super Mario Odyssey as well, do yourself a favor and go play these games. These are, in my opinion, the greatest 3D platforming games ever made. Seriously, incredible games. There's a reason Mario is on top as the most well-known gaming character, gaming franchise, the biggest gaming franchise maybe possibly. There's a reason Mario is the Mickey Mouse of gaming, and it's because of these games. Mario's games are just incredible in general. These are full 3D Mario games, which are basically mean that these give you the opportunity to platform in 3D. There's open areas to explore in these games. Usually there's like a hub land that you go around, which leads to levels where you have to collect stars or moons or shines. For example, Super Mario Odyssey in general is one of the best open area games I've ever played. I think in this game there's kind of this idea that no matter what you do in the game, you will always be rewarded with something. There's something special about this game and these games because of that. They just feel so fluent to play, and I think these games are well renowned for being games that control amazingly as well. Super Mario Sunshine gives you a water jetpack. You can roam the different areas with this water jetpack and reach areas that you didn't think you could reach before. And yeah, I don't know, like there's just something about these games that make them some of the greatest games ever made. These are easily top tier Nintendo games, and in my opinion, some of the greatest Nintendo games ever made. I became a Nintendo fan purely for these games really. I do feel like Mario Odyssey was a seal-in deal for me to get a Nintendo Switch as soon as I did, because once I saw Mario Odyssey been announced, I was like, I need a Nintendo Switch. So still talking about Mario, I'm also going to talk about Super Mario Wonder, because the difference between this game is that this is a 2D Mario game. Now you can play other 2D Mario games as well. Other games that I would highly recommend if you've never played a 2D Mario game are Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3. I would highly recommend them as well. But Super Mario Bros. Wonder, in my opinion, is the best 2D Mario game of all time. It's that good. This game is so creative. Every single level is an absolute dream to play. There's just something about every single level, platform level in this game that's just... you don't know what's coming next. You will never know what's coming next, because the game just changes and changes and changes every single level. It's so fun to play. The creativeness of this game and the 2D platforming just feels so fluent. It's incredible. There's power-ups, the elephant power-up's fun. The fact that you can like glide using your cap, and you get all these like special medals that you can use that give you special abilities to use in the different levels. That's always a fun thing as well. Highly recommend. Mario games are just top tier. Nintendo really do put all of their effort into Mario games because they know that, like I say, Mario is the Mickey Mouse of gaming. And if Mario isn't good, then gaming isn't good. And this is definitely a good game. So definitely get Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's easily one of the greatest Nintendo games ever made. The next game is Splatoon 3. And I'm going to talk about this game in the fact that this is the third game in a trilogy. I do think that you can play any Splatoon game. Probably not Splatoon 1 anymore because the online service is now gone. You can't play Splatoon online anymore. But you can play Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 still online. Splatoon 3 is the most up-to-date one. That's the one that everyone's playing. This is a online shooting game. It's basically paintball, but really, really messy. So you play as a squid person in this game. An inkling, they call it. That's what they're called. They're called an inkling. Inklings are basically characters in this game that seem to have a habit of shooting each other with their ink, fighting each other to basically have turf wars. And turf war in this game is spreading as much ink from your weapon on a certain map of the game, and the team that spreads the most ink is the winner. And you can tell already how chaotic that must be by the fact that if everyone has weapons and everyone's shooting ink at the same time, the two teams are definitely going to be fighting for turf. So you can understand how chaotic this game is. And yes, it is extremely chaotic. It's super fun. This is one of the best online experiences I've ever had. I love this game. The community for Splatoon is interesting, but it's a very fun one, a creative one. Splatoon 3 I will highly recommend to anyone who wants to play a Nintendo game or wants to be introduced to Nintendo, because this is effectively Nintendo's Call of Duty. Yeah, it's not quite Call of Duty, but it's definitely the closest thing we have to the best of shooting online. And this is just that, really. I really love this game for the reason that this is more than what it looks like. There's other modes as well. There's a story mode in this game with set levels that Nintendo have made. The levels are really fun, and there's an overarching story. It's a post-apocalyptic game as well, which people forget about. It's just a great concept of a game. There's other games out there now really trying to mimic the gameplay and style of this game. There's a mode as well called Salmon Run, where you can play with 3 other people online and basically do a horde mode where you fight bosses and enemies and shoot as much ink around this map, and basically kind of, it's almost a bit like Splatoon's version of zombies in a way, I guess. Kind of, maybe. But yeah, horde mode Salmon Run is fun, team gameplay, and also the story mode's fun as well. But yeah, online play on this, ranked battle, one of the best experiences for any gamer, especially if you're not a Nintendo gamer and you want to get into gaming on Nintendo. So, Splatoon 3. And the final game I want to talk about is Super Smash Bros. Now, I'm not saying Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, this is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but I will say this is the best in the series. I'm saying just Super Smash Bros. Go play Super Smash Bros. Any of the Super Smash Bros. Games. There's one on every single home console since the Nintendo 64, so yeah. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Why is this game special? So this game is special because after talking about all the games that I've just spoken about, this game combines every single one of them and adds every single Nintendo character you can think of. Except Waluigi. I say this joke every single time I make a video and talk about Smash Bros. Every kind of big character that's ever been in a Nintendo game is here, and this is a fighting game where you basically attack each other, you fight each other on stages, and the person who gets the most knockouts of the area of the stage is the winner. That's basically what it is. The more you get hit, the more likely you are to fall off the stage and lose a point, while your opponent gains a point. That's basically how it works. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is just the biggest and best of the series. It has the most characters in it, has the most stages, it has the most modes and gameplay. There's so much game in this. I don't think I've even played most of the game. So it's just one of those games that anyone can pick up and play as well. Like, it's difficult if you want to get serious, because the majority of people who play this online are just so good at it. When I play it, I'm just okay. I play it out of fun. I don't play it competitively. And that's what I feel Super Smash Bros. Should be. It's one of those party games that you can just pick up and play with a group of friends. And I would like to keep it that way for myself. But if you want to get into a competitive Nintendo game and get serious, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is amazing. Also, I will throw in the fact that this game has not just Nintendo characters in it, it has third-party characters in it. For example, Ryu from Street Fighter, Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series, Minecraft Steve, Joker from the Persona series, Cloud from Final Fantasy. The list goes on. There's so many third-party characters that are in this game that just really make it that extra special. I would highly recommend, just even if you're not familiar with Nintendo, like, or Nintendo characters, just pick it up anyway, because this game is a blast, absolute blast of a game. Just fighting and having fun. It's my favourite fighting game of all time. I love them. I love every single Smash Bros. Game. I will highlight Super Smash Bros. Melee. I feel like Super Smash Bros. Melee is a personal favourite of mine, and that was on the GameCube. But this one is the one I would recommend, as this is the biggest and best game in the series. Has all the content you need, and everything that you can think of is here. Alright, and that is my choices for the 10 games I believe every gamer who's not really familiar with Nintendo should play. Play these games before you die. I really do recommend them. Incredible, incredible games. In my opinion, all of them over there are 10 out of 10 games. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I've just reached over 900 subscribers, so I really am happy with that. Please do continue to like, comment, and subscribe. I am so close to 1,000 subs now. I want to get to 1,000 subs before my birthday in July. So please do continue to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm putting a lot of effort into these videos and putting a lot of time into them. And I just enjoy building relationships with you guys online and talking to people who have similar interests as me, and I just want to keep building this community, so please do like, comment and subscribe, and even hit that bell button if you want to keep up to date with my channel. I've also got a Twitter now as well, so if you would like to follow me on Twitter, I'll put a link down below, and yeah, go check it out. Now please do check out this video right here. These are the 10 best gyro games on Nintendo Switch, and if you want to know what gyro is, click on the video. Enjoy. I'll see you soon. Bye.